Gateway Gamers podcast.
Hello, welcome to Gateway Gamers. My name is Brian Marvel, joined, as always, by my great co-host, RP Walsh, and this is a podcast where I introduce the world of gaming to my friend RP, one game at a time.
Lacking the gusto as always.
Mm-hmm.
A little monotone there. There should be some excitement, some fervor in your voice.
Was that? That was monotone?
It was so monotone.
I'm pumped.
There's some news. There's some exciting
Yeah.
stuff today.
We're starting off right with the news.
No. I'm talking about our top 10. That's exciting. It's exciting stuff.
It is exciting. So if you read the title, we're doing our
Episode
pretty much
on
annual...
the DC Marvel United.
No. So we're doing our annual, pretty much ranking our 10 games that we kind of played. We haven't done it in a year with all the solo episodes and just kind of everything going on. Kind of grabbed the 10 games that you and I have played together. And we're going to talk about them, kind of rank them. And also we do have some news on the tail end that's pretty exciting for us and our love of gaming, and a game in particular that we love. So it just dropped today, and we're just already kind of jazzed to talk about it.
We're jazzed, man. We are very jazzed, but we also haven't done this in a year because we've actually been giving you content. We've been getting a lot of games. You've been quote unquote purging a lot of games. So we've had a lot of episodes to deliver and kind of put this top 10 to the wayside in favor of new episodes, new content, different stuff. So, it's nice to revisit.
Yeah, these are some of my favorite episodes just because we do burn through games so quickly sometimes that we don't get to appreciate some of the games we kind of played and like kind of poo-poo some of the games we kind of played because we do kind of play for the episode, and then some games don't come back out. There's a couple games in this list that definitely have been played a couple times since. Like, I think this is probably our most solid list.
Yeah.
In the ones that we've done.
I forgot that all of this happened in the last year. Like, it's been a crazy year. It's just nuts. We played a lot of good games. We played a lot of good games. Yeah,
not even all of them made the list. There's like one or two that I kind of skipped over. I think one was a villainous, the Be Prepared one, just because we've covered villainous so much, and we actually have villainous on this list, just a different version. But yeah, so let's dive right in. We're not going to list the games. We're going to talk about them as we go through them. Also forcing you guys to listen throughout the whole episode if you want to hear the games that we're talking about. So we're going to do this from number 10 being our least favorite, and down to number 1 being our favorite of the games we kind of played. So I'll start off. My number 10 is Fireball Island Race to Adventure by Goliath Games. Is it matching yours?
Yeah, it's mine.
I knew it. That's the only one that I'm confident that we match on. I'm curious to see the rest of the list. This game was whatever. I think the day we played it, I think we both kind of knew we weren't feeling it. It's a roll and move. That's not even a roll and move. You're drawing cards, running around an island, grabbing nonsense. The board is cool, and that's it.
No, it's wonky.
Yeah, but the 3D setup is cool.
Yeah, it's cool,
but it is also like wonky, and like you would knock one thing down and everything would go tumbling.
Yeah, it's crappy. Like, did we get sent that, or did you buy that?
I bought that at Target for like $12.
That's a good price point.
Yeah, and then I got rid of it. I actually brought it to my classroom and I set it up one.
Yeah, that's
I set it up one day, and the kids were knocking it all over the place, and I went, "It's gone. It's never coming back out." But the caveat to this one is this is a Goliath game, which is a cheaper version of a better product. So this is something I kind of talked about recently with Prospero Hall. It's Funko selling all their games to Goliath. Goliath takes these games and like cheapifies them a bit for the Target audience. Literally Target stores. So there's another version from Restoration Games, which is bigger and probably better. But this version from Goliath Games just kind of stunk.
Yeah, and even if there is a bigger and better version, I mean, we probably got the brass bones of what it actually game is. Like, I don't expect the gameplay to. It's probably just a little bit smoother, I would
Hmm.
assume, but it's probably still plays the
I
same.
think
And
there's more elements to it, but I imagine they're trying to hit
either
that nostalgia because this is a 90s game.
maybe if you want a game for your kids and to play with your kids or play in your classroom, then sure.
Hmm.
But not. This
No,
isn't
I
it
want to
for
buy
me.
this. I
No.
want to recommend this. Even if you save for $10, it's a pass. I won't even bother.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt to set up. Like, I don't even remember if I said anything good about it.
Mm-mm.
I'll have to go back and listen to our own episode.
Yeah, I think I was as nice as I could be, but it was
Yeah.
like, meh, whatever. It's just
It was
nope.
cool. Like it had like that indie feel. Like it looked cool,
Hmm.
but in terms of actual playing, like no, no, thank you.
Yep, exactly. All right, so number 9, start us off.
With our boy Kenny G, keeping it saxy. I have
Okay.
it. It's a. Do you match?
Nope.
Oh, okay. It's it was a fun game. It was funny, and then we tossed it in the recycling bin. And
Literally.
I literally watched the rain destroy this box over the course of the next 2 days. And I was not sad. There was a card probably that was laying in the puddle that said, you know, got caught in the rain, all wet and ruined. That game was fine. It was good for what it was, 10, $15. A good party game, I guess. But like even at the end, like that's it. Like, and I had a
Yeah.
lot of ways that I would improve the game, and we don't typically have a situation like that.
Hmm.
So for that reason alone, it can't be any lower. So that's my number nine.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
My number 9 was Dutch Blitz.
Okay.
I know that's tough to hear because I could say that since Audra's not in a room, but it Dutch Blitz is fine. It's just a card game. It's not there's no bells or whistles to it. I think it's a great card game, but when I'm putting against these other more IP heavy games, it's just hard to compete with because it's not an IP themed card game. It's just a card game like any other type. It's not bad. It's just against these other IP heavy and like harder games. It's just number
Mhm.
9 for me.
Well, it's my number eight. So if
Okay.
we kind of just go right into it, yeah, it's a fine, good, fun, quick card game that my wife really loves. The
She's a
Lancaster,
champion.
she is a champion. Uh, yeah, in this household, I suppose. And yeah, it's fun, and points to it for it being developed by a younger man or a family man just looking to play a game with his kids, I think was what we talked
Hmm.
about. And it's now a somewhat popular game with no IP needed. So I think for that, it's points. It's
Hmm.
give points to it, but I just can't have it lower than keeping it or higher than I cannot keep it saxy below. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this
Yeah.
because that game is kind of lazy. Like
Yeah.
there's thought somewhat put into it, but it just ends. At least with this, there's like a true winner. There's like a true it's over, it's done with. It's like it feels like a full game where keeping it actually just feels like you need to just pass time, which it's funny because game is a pass the time game, but like keeping it sexy is just like I don't even like I just that game was not good. And Dutch Blitz was. So
All
for
right.
that reason,
So.
it's my eight, and I guess yeah, there's a special place in my heart for it comes from my wife's homeland of
Hmm.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So my 8, just kind of flipping, is Kenny G's Keeping It Saxy.
Okay.
All the reasons you said, it didn't have an ending. We actually thought of a better ending, which, as you said, is rare. That we can actually design a better game, kind of. It was fine for what it was. We played it twice and we laughed, and then that was kind of it. Like I don't miss it. I kept purged it from my collection. There hasn't been a time where I'm yearning for it on my shelf where I'm like, oh man, I wish I kept that Kenny G
You
keeping a
just
Saxy game.
you mean you don't have a moment where you're just like, man, I wish I kept it, and then slow sax just starts playing?
Yeah, just nope,
Can
not
you
at all.
think of anything else that besides that?
For no, for jazz, no. No. Yeah, so like I said, and you said kind of everything we needed to. It was fun when it was there, but it quickly outstayed its welcome. There were moments that were fine, but overall, it was just a very forgettable game. Which I'm not too disappointed because I got it at Ollie's discount for like $7. So
Right. So you can't beat that.
that
And
makes it easy. Yeah, we got our money's worth.
that's yeah, that's the worth of it is
hmm
$7.
And
So
that's published by Big G Creative, which I don't know who they are. They just
it's
seem to
it's
be
just
make
him.
these weird Target games.
It's him
And
himself.
then Dutch Blitz is self-published, which is
Mhm.
to its
Good for
credit.
good for them.
Yeah,
And that's why it's above, in my opinion.
Kenny
It's
G's
a
keeping it
it
sexy.
Kenny
Uh,
G's keeping it sexy.
All right, my number 7 is Lorcana. Yeah,
Whoa. Do tell, sir. Do
yeah.
tell.
So, Lorcana was hot for us
Mm-hmm.
for a week and a half. Like, we've maybe played it once since. I don't think about it. We're on our third set already, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Like, I truly don't care about that game. Like, I enjoy what I have, and I don't think I need more. We're like with Magic and like Pokemon, like I get the itch every once in a while. Lorcana, I'm just like, all right, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
Yeah, but
That's a great point. I guess I didn't really think of it like that.
mhm,
So I'll save my points on it till I get there. But to
mhm,
your point, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I bought the first three starter decks and then I bought the next two that came out and I said I'm done
yeah,
because my wife is never going to play it. You would be the only person I would play it with. So I guess that's a great point because it was super hot. It was the thing. And then they're just pumping these out every freaking,
3 months. Yeah,
3 months and just the first wave you couldn't get it, and then the second wave, by the time second wave came out, you were finally able to get the first wave, and then so on and so forth. And now it's just like you can walk into anywhere and kind of
yeah,
get the third one. And I don't know what their point is. Like I
yeah.
don't
And I'm
know.
I'm not gonna poo-poo this game as a whole. It's a great game,
Hmm.
but it's just I'm over it. I'm kind of done with it. You and I both follow the Facebook pages. I think you unfollowed them finally, but these
No,
psychopaths that are going into like Disney World and complaining where it's like, they're only letting me buy 55 packs, or it's like, all right, sorry. Like,
yeah,
meanwhile,
it's
I'm struggling to buy groceries, and you're buying almost like $300 of Lorcana cards. But I think the product overall is great. They are coming out with a co-op version of the game, which
it's a
that's interesting, and
yes.
I think I'll definitely get that one, and we'll try it out
Hmm.
because I said that's a solo mode possibly,
Yeah.
which is something a lot of TCGs don't have. So I'm like, oh, okay, like that's something different, something interesting. So once that comes out, that might change this on my list. That might bump it up to number one, number two, like easily if I can have this game more accessible. But as a product, I think Lorcana is wonderful. For me, it's just kind of like dead in the water. I think it's nothing that I'm like fervoring to get.
Yeah, and I think that's because we just don't play it.
hmm
And these games need to be played like more often where, like I said, it's just you and me. So,
hmm
I've packed
And
these up.
Preston, we gotta get Preston. We gotta get him.
We do got to get Preston. So I'll anytime we hang out or we went down for PR weekend, I pack these up. We just never played them.
hmm
So, um, yeah,
Yeah, so
I
that was
get
my
that.
number 7, the Lorcana Disney trading card game from Ravensburger's game.
My number seven is Kabuto Sumo.
Okay.
I know you're kind of big on this game. It was very whatever for me. It
hmm
was cool. The pieces were cool. It's a very good, let's just play a game and have a conversation. And which I do love those. I truly do. There's a place for them in the world of gaming, but it was fine. Some of the effects were cool. There were some things though that we like didn't even use.
hmm
So it is what
Now
it is.
we're going
Just
base game, correct?
yes, yeah,
Okay,
Kabuto
yeah.
Sumo. Uh, that's what you sent me, so
Yep.
that's what
Nope,
I'm going
nope. I
off of.
just want to
Yeah,
make sure. Yep. Because
Yeah.
on my
So
list, I have it as just a base game. So
okay. Yeah, just the base game because Kabuto Sumo was very whatever. So number 7.
okay. And number 6, I have Kabuto Sumo. So
Oh,
not
there you
too
go.
far off. Yeah, as a base game, Kabuto Sumo is very stale very quickly. It's as you said, a great dexterity game. It's a game I enjoy pulling out. It has great table presence. I love the pieces, the components. I think everything production wise is fantastic.
Mhm.
It just gets boring real quick without the
Yeah.
expansion. With the expansion, this would be way higher on my list because I think the expansion is a necessity for this game.
Mhm.
Should have been in the base game. But
Mhm.
as the standard Kabuto Sumo, it's not a game that has a lot of replayability, which knocks it down my list pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we talked about all that on our episode,
Hmm.
on our expansion episode too. So if you guys go, if you haven't listened, go check that out.
Yeah, that's Kabuto Sumo from BoardGameTables.com. That's the
Oh,
publisher for that game.
I
Yeah,
like it. Good for them.
yeah.
My number 6 is Doomlings.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoyed that game. However, there's other things on this list that I liked more. I
Hmm.
thought that was a fun surprise. The theming was great. The art was fun. Like the weirdness of the game was cool. I really, really enjoyed that game. It was a
Hmm.
highlight for me, and it was a highlight and a surprise for me. However, there's IP based things that I enjoy more, and
Hmm.
there's actually a fun little fact about Doomlings. So I was in Lancaster, home of the Dutch Blitz, and visiting my niece and my brother and sister-in-law. So we walk into this brewery after doing the Strasbourg Railroad, and I'm drawing a blank on the brewery. I'll have to look it up. And I walk by and there's somebody playing Doomlings. There's a table of 4 people playing Doomlings, and I go, "Oh, Doomlings," and the girl goes, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Yeah, it's really fun." And I said, "I know." I said, I have a podcast and we just covered Doomlings." And she's like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yeah, it's the Gateway Gamers podcast. Check us out." And I plugged our Instagram as well. And then I went to our seat and I was giddy. It was fun. And then later on, the waitress came up and she said, "Hey, I heard does somebody at this table have a podcast?" And it's like this just sounds like a lie. It's not. I'm
Hmm.
not being serious. And I was like, "Yeah, I have a gamers podcast." I said, check out our episodes." She's like, "How often do you drop?" I said, "Well, we were bi-weekly, now we're monthly, but check out some episodes and check out the Instagram." I said, "We're always covering new stuff." And she's like, "Oh, okay." Well, she said, they come in a lot and they're always playing games. I'm always, poking to see what they're playing." So it was actually like a really cool like experience for me
Yeah.
to be able to like plug because we plug it on here and plug it on
Hmm.
Thursday Record it, plug it on social media.
Yeah, and especially an environment where it's not expected.
Yeah,
Like any
yeah,
other day before that game, like you would have walked by and be like, "Ah, that game looks neat." But you had like somebody, you're like, "Ah, Doomlings, okay." Like,
yeah, and like they were very friendly too, so that also helped, and well, which a lot of the gaming community is. But it was just really, really, it was a really cool experience for me to actually get to plug the podcast to somebody who actually cared,
hmm,
or at least seemed that they cared. We said our
yeah,
listens might have gone up that day, but it was just a really cool experience, and
hmm,
for that, I have like, oh, I'm really glad we played Doom Links. So it was cool.
yeah. And that was your number
6.
6. All right, mine was Kabuto Sumo. So we'll move on to number 5. My number 5 is Star Wars Villainous.
Okay.
We love Villainous. I
Hmm.
enjoyed the Star Wars version after the sour taste of the Marvel edition that we kind of have. Like we don't
It's
love the
not.
Marvel edition. We're a bit disappointed.
It's
And
because
this
of what they changed the game up.
yeah, they got too big for the britches with that one. The
Yeah.
Star Wars Villainous brings it back. Like I think it did a really good job of going back to what worked, and then they added that like starship kind of
Hmm.
mechanic that didn't change much, and it wasn't anything that you could utilize too much. It was pretty rare actually when a ship came out. And I liked that. I like the villains that were in the game. There's an expansion that's out that you and I have not played yet.
And
And
there's
then they
another.
announced another expansion coming out. So it's a game that's still getting love. I think we have too much villainous at this point. So it's tough
Yeah.
to that's a game that
Have
needs to come to the table more, but we actually do get to the table a lot.
Yeah, yeah. We play when we can, but there's
Hmm.
always other stuff that we want to play. It's good to have when we're like, oh, you just want to play something real
Hmm.
quick, like for like 30 minutes.
But I feel like that's a
Um,
game that we're constantly like, oh, we should get a villainous out. Like
yeah, because
that's
it's
one of those
easy.
games that just seems to be evergreen for us. So yeah, the Star Wars villainous. I don't even want to call it an expansion, just Star Wars villainous
Yeah,
version from Ravensburger. Uh, we waxed poetic about villainous plenty on the show, so you kind of know the gist of it. But I think this version goes back to what made the Disney version really good and adds a little more without it changing the game too much.
agreed. Agreed. My number five is the Star Wars Deck Builder.
Okay.
I really liked it, loved it, thought it was a lot of fun. But I constantly was, I felt like I was always losing
Mm,
against the dark side. And yeah, I thought it was nice. The only complaint would be that it's just two players, which typically it's hard to find a game that is just two players. But
mm,
if I'm nitpicking, that would be it. Other than that, art was great, cards were cool, and I was pleasantly surprised by that. And I think I'm just a big fan of deck builders.
yeah.
I think they really, if it's done right with the good IP, I really like it. And again, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars, but that game made me really excited. And I was like, oh, I considered even purchasing it because I like that you have like the seven cards out
In there,
and
bro. Yeah.
the row, and they could be all red, they could be all blue, or they could be, a mix. And I just felt like you were always getting something, or helping yourself in some way every
Hmm.
turn. So I really enjoyed this game. Five might be a little hot, low, or I guess you might have it lower on your list. But for me, I think this is a sweet spot for it. I think there's other things that we played that I truly loved, and I don't. We haven't like Jones to play it again.
Hmm.
So while I've enjoyed it and been like, oh, even fellow listener Shanks and Bob, who has been on the show, they actually played it and they liked it as well. So I was able to share some experience with that. But yeah, no, just for that reason, number five.
Hmm. All right. And number four, I have Splendor Marble.
As do I.
Okay. Well, we finally matched up again.
Synced back
Splendor
up. Yeah.
Marble is the IP version of Splendor with the Marvel characters, so we were already on board.
Hmm.
Um, but the game itself is super fun. It's super simple. The components are fantastic. I love the chips that represent the Infinity Gems that you're collecting. I like the strategy of buying certain characters that you need. That game just really worked. It hit a good itch that my collection doesn't have.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that was a surprise for me because I constantly seen this game, out. It was kind of pricey. You sent it me the one day, like, oh, it's $15. You want me to get it? I was like,
Mm,
no, what a big mistake that was
yeah, before we
because
played it.
we played this game like five or six times. I feel like we
Hmm.
played it a lot.
I
And
played with my wife.
anytime,
She didn't love it, but she understood it. Like she picked it up easily. Like she got the gist of it, but she was just kind of like, oh, okay.
like
Because I
ho
was like,
hum.
RP and I really like this game. You're gonna like it. She was just like,
So we
yeah, it's
hyped it
fine.
up. Yeah, you throw the Infinity Stones in there and cool Marvel characters and the different types of powers or like cost. I really loved it. I liked that it was simple,
Hmm.
and I liked that I won basically every single time, which does
Yeah,
not happen when we play.
yeah, you did
So,
really well.
but yeah, all the components were great. The art was great. Price point's a little high, if not on sale. So that's why I haven't gotten it yet. But it's something that I would in one day like to add to my
Hmm.
collection. Mm, so yeah, for all those reasons, number four.
Yeah, Splendor Marvel by Space Cowboys. So we could just jump right to number three. You want to start us off with your number three?
Yeah, so my number three is Lorcana.
Okay.
For some of the reasons, I think that you made some good points and things I didn't think of. But when that game came out, that's all we were talking about. That's
Hmm.
all you and I were talking about. We sat down, we played it, and I loved all the. Even though you beat me basically every single time, I loved all the components of it. I thought it was challenging to a degree, but not impossible. And I think if you really spent the time to learn the deck, it's like any TCG, you can really make an awesome deck, and you can make
Hmm.
probably a theme deck if you have it. But I love the art of everything. I like anytime they like take a twist on
Mm-hmm.
characters already, I really enjoy. The song cards were cool. Like everything about that is as a huge Disney fan and as a game fan and as a growing like deck building card game fan. I really liked all of this, and I was hyped. I was hyped for this game
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, this felt like a game made for me, and I haven't really had that connection with any TCGs in a very long time, and
Yeah,
even when
so
I did, like Pokemon or
mm-hmm.
what Yu-Gi-Oh was the last one that I actually played. But yeah, that was like a huge thing for me.
Yeah, so that kind of shows like what you kind of said shows why it's so different on our list. So this is kind of your first TCG
Hmm.
that you got excited for. Like you never really cared about Pokemon, you didn't play Magic, whereas me, this is like the fifth like
Yeah,
kind of trading card game that might have sucked me in. Like I enjoy Magic still. I think Magic is my top TCG. I enjoy collecting Pokemon cards, not so much playing them. And then Lorcana is just kind of there, which is why I think it's my number seven and it's
hmm,
your number three. Like it just kind of shows
yeah,
like our different mindsets on it. We both kind of said the same thing why we enjoyed it, but where they stand is so much different because of our different experience with these type of games.
for sure. And a lot of TCGs can be overwhelming. Like Magic at
Hmm.
this point for me to get into Magic would be like, oh, I just feel like I'm missing it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not the way it is, but it just feels that way. Where I got in Lorcana on the ground floor, so I
Yeah.
was like aware of everything, understanding it. I think the gameplay is fine. Like I'm not like I wasn't like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing
Hmm.
ever. Like other games do things better. I and I would get the rules a little confused too. Like you had a better grasp of the rules, which is
Hmm.
why I've never attempted to teach my wife, but my wife also has absolutely no freaking interest in it too, which also sucks. But yeah, no, it was just something I was super hyped for. Definitely the hype has died down. I'm good with never buying a starter deck again. I might pick up a pack if I were to see one.
Hmm.
But like at this point, why? We don't play. And maybe if
Yeah.
me and Preston got more regular with it, sure.
Yeah.
But
It's funny because even though it's so low on my list or whatever, like I still want to get all the starters as they come out. And
yeah,
that's it.
because
I
they're
don't want to buy
cool.
more decks. I just want to buy the starters because I feel like it's such a good collection. Like,
Yeah.
whereas buying the packs are like such a crapshoot.
Well, yeah, you have to get a starter because if not, especially at the beginning, like when you need it, like if somebody's like, I'm just buying packs, building my deck this way,
Hmm.
it was awful because it wasn't available.
Yeah, it's not enough.
So you needed the starter decks to be able to
Hmm.
play, and luckily I did, so we could play. Um, and you had yours as well, but even that treasure trove you got
My
didn't have
yeah,
enough to make a deck.
my treasure trove that now goes for like $400 sealed.
Should
Yeah,
it? Oh well.
I opened that bad
Uh,
boy up. I didn't care.
but
All right, so
yeah,
that
for
was
all those
your
that was my number three
number three.
for and yeah, no, I think it was the hype for me was too high for it not to be
Hmm.
number three. And I enjoyed it. I really did. I think I
Yeah,
raved about it on here. But yeah, number three.
yeah. Again, not knocking what it is. I think it's just our different mindsets of the a TCG in general. So my number three is Doomlings, which
Oh,
even
wow.
shocked me because I enjoyed that game, but I thought about that game a lot after we kind of played, where I was like, man, like that was a really like good game, and that game had a lot of replayability options, and I don't know why that game stuck like so hard for me as it did. Where making this list, I had it like lower, and then I was like, you know what, Doomlings was a damn good game. Like this needs to
It was.
it needs to go a little higher, and then like it just
Well,
kept creeping up the list where I was like, man, is
I
this where it belongs?
I will say I redid my list like three times because I had it. I was like, no, it needs to be lower. It needs to be lower. Like
Hmm.
no, that's too, like I needed to find the sweet point for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Are you
that was
upset?
the game where I had the most trouble. Like I was like, damn, is it that good of a game? And I was like, well, it is better than this game. And I was like, but is it better than this game? I was like, ah, it might be. And number three is where it ended up.
Are
I
you
was
upset?
shocked. No, I mean, it's a
Are you
great
upset
game.
that no? Are you upset that you gave it to me?
No. So Yeah, so this was one of the games that faced a purge, and it got gifted to RP. And I'm not upset about it because I have games that are similar, but I think Doomlings was a great product. Like I think of these 10 games, this is number 3 for me because it was simple in art, it was simple play style, but it was also super strategic. And then it also had really good art with
Yeah.
the lands. It was well thought out. And I think the replayability is huge. Replayability is always one of my biggest factors for games. Is just kind of like, how many times can I replay this without getting bored or without seeing the same things? And Doomlings had a huge deck where
Yeah.
you could replay it a lot. We played it with my wife. She enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, we ran it back with her.
Yeah. So Doomlings is my number 3 for sure of the games we played.
That does surprise me.
It
I will
surprised
say.
me.
But hey, that we love little games like that.
Yeah, I love being caught off guard. And Doomlings.
And like the art and like the box was eye catching. So like
Hmm.
exactly when I walked in that brewery, I knew exactly what they were playing.
Yep.
So for sure. I guess it's on to number two
Yep.
for me. For me, it's Star Wars Villainous.
Okay.
Uh, that I was surprised how much I loved it. Not surprised because I love Villainous in itself. It's probably my favorite game there with Marvel United. And I was so like you said, like basically for what exactly what you said. Like I was turned off by the Marvel one a little bit, even though I bought the expansions.
Mm.
And it's just I don't know, but this one just kind of got back to basics. Like what made the original Villainous so great. Cool character pieces, really, really cool character
Yeah,
pieces.
always.
And then like the things with the characters itself, like Kylo Ren had to push him to like he had the like light side dark side tracker
Yeah.
because he teeters that and like all the thematic stuff that comes with that game. I just loved it, and the presence itself is just gorgeous. I love the table presence of this
Hmm.
game. Maybe I love the I you know me I love the backs of the cards.
Yep.
I think for Villainous, I think that is something that goes unlooked, like and untalked about. I think that they're great. It's just a great, 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 great game, and it's hard for me to. I know we talk about it and rave about it on here, but it's hard for me even with that to just put it lower. But I just can't. I can't. I love it, and I'm not like I said. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I think this is great. I like the added component of the ship when you could use it.
Hmm.
Um, but this was one we played multiple times. Not in the same day, but we brought it. It's been brought
Yeah.
out multiple times, and one I even play with my wife.
Yeah.
So, who just kind of despises any game that has reading. So,
This is one that I would see myself buying.
mhm.
Like the Marvel one, I didn't get all the expansions. The only one I got was the Venom one just because of Spider-Man.
That's the
But I
one I
don't have
don't
any
have.
other ones. But this game is one where I'm like, man, do I like if I ever see this on sale Target, I'll grab it and then the expansions.
The expansion. I don't need the Django Fett or Boba Fett expansion,
Hmm.
but the Darth Maul expansion.
I
It's
don't know. I need that Boba Fett.
it's calling my name. It's calling my name.
Well, we'll just buy it and then I'll have the Boba Fett. You can have the
That's fine.
Darth Maul. And then I'll end up buying Darth Maul, and then you'll end up buying Boba Fett because we're
Because
addicts.
that's yeah, yes, we are. But that's for
Um,
that reason. That's why it's my number two.
yep. And my number 2 is the Star Wars Deck Builder.
Okay, I'm not
Um,
surprised by that.
I've really deck building, as you kind of said, is one of your favorite game mechanics. It's 1,000% probably my favorite game mechanic. And this game, I'm a bigger Star Wars nerd than you are. I enjoyed the theme. I thought the art was great. I thought the whole mechanic, like you said, of the row in the middle and having the option of like I could buy this character or I could destroy the Millennium Falcon to slow you down, but it also gives me a benefit. Like I liked the option of that. I like that it's a head on head. I know you would rather like a multiplayer, but I like a nice head on head.
No, I enjoyed the head on
Yeah.
head, and I enjoyed the planets as well. I forgot to
Hmm.
mention that. That
Yeah,
was
then
cool.
having like the whole planets that give you powers and they were none of them felt useless where you're like, oh no, it's Alderaan. Like Alderaan come out and be like, oh, here we go. Alderraan's out. Like, oh, it's like it swung it in the right direction. So
Hmm.
this game is definitely swingy, where
Yes.
the rebels or like it depends who kind of plays more. Where some people are like the rebels have the advantage or the empire has the advantage. I think it's just luck. Like it's just luck of the
Yeah, for
draw. It's luck
sure.
what comes out. I played this game with my wife. She was fine with it. But she understood it. She
Hmm.
picked it up quick. She kind of knew what she was doing. She was figuring it out. I annihilated her, and she was just like, "All right, we don't have to play that again." So, and for all those reasons, I really enjoyed it. I'm waiting for the expansion. This game needs an expansion. I don't know
It
where it's at.
absolutely does.
There's characters that are clearly missing. It would bump it up even more, but overall, I really enjoy what this game is. A two-player head-to-head deck builder with a lot of options, which is what I kind of love. The replayability is there because of the big deck.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it scratches all those itches that I have for what I'm looking for in a game.
Yeah, definitely. It's right there for an expansion. It's crazy that they haven't even announced one yet.
Nope.
Because it's not like you see this thing on sale, so it means it's doing well.
Hmm.
And but yeah, just for everything you said, I agree. It is a fantastic game, easy to learn. That was the one thing when we were setting it up. I was like, is this going to be like? But no, we learned it very quickly. We
Hmm.
ran through it like twice. So yeah, definitely, I agree, and I think that's a great place for a number two.
Hmm.
Even though I had it 5-2, you could argue two for
Yeah.
me as well.
Yeah, it's just ours are flip-flop.
Yep.
Villainous was my number five. It's your number two. And what? Deck Builder was your number five.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's my number
And
two. So
yeah,
it's
that's
right
crazy.
where they kind of belong. And so that's Star Wars Deck Builder from Fantasy Flight. So our number one's match. And I'm
Yep.
kind of shocked.
Are you really?
Not for me, but for you for it to be your number one. I'm kind of
Why?
shocked. I knew you liked this game, but to be number one, I was expecting it.
Dude, I love this. This was my favorite part of the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Be-
definitely helped where it was.
Everybody got into it. We all had fun. We were acting stuff out. Like, eh, and it was like a version of like D&D. Like it
Yeah,
was
D&D light.
awesome.
All right.
This was huge for me, and it involved drinking. It's freaking
Yeah.
huge. What's not to
Yeah.
love?
All right. So both of our number ones
Hmm.
is Heroes of Barcadia from Rolla Crit Games.
Hmm. This game was awesome. I had such a good time. I thought it was so clever. I thought I loved the components of it. I everything about it I loved. There was not one thing I didn't like that I can at least think of. And if
Hmm.
you get a group of friends or family who is willing to get a little goofy and silly with it, like we did, like with the elixir of life and everything like that, like we just had such a blast. We got so weird, so had such a great time with it, and it's why it's my number one. I think it gives you that taste of D&D since I've never played D&D. I
Hmm.
think it gives you a little taste of what that can be, but in a controlled game, and we literally flipped almost every piece until we got
Yeah.
to what we needed to reveal. So we really got you know, the full gambit of it all.
Mm.
But yeah, dude, I adored this game. I thought this game ruled.
I'm shocked. I don't like I did
Why?
not I knew it would be ranked pretty highly on your list. I didn't expect to be your number one. And as we're going up, I was like, wow, really? It's gonna be number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been clamoring for this game since we started this podcast 3 years ago.
Hmm.
Pretty much as soon as we started the podcast, this hit Kickstarter. Um, I wasn't at that level yet where I was backing Kickstarter games, so I didn't go all in on it. And then it's just kind of like it was around, and I was like, man, like here's a Barcadia, here's a Barcadia. Like this is a game I really want to get. We went to PAX this year, and it was the one thing I said to RP. I was like, we're going in, and I'm buying Heroes of Barcadia today. Don't
Yeah,
let
it's
me buy anything
basically
else because I need to control myself with money.
that was
But Heroes
basically
of
all
Barcadia is all I need.
that's basically the only reason we went there.
That's not
And
true, but
for the Heroes of Arcadia like beer from Victory that we thought we were going to get,
yeah,
or
some
Voodoo
exclusive beer
Ranger or
that didn't
whatever.
exist. But I
Yeah.
beelined it right to Roller Crit's booth, gave him my credit card, purchased my game. and walked around with this giant bag with Heroes of Barcadia in there. Yeah, I really enjoyed this game for what it is. It's a goofy, trashy, pun-filled good time. Like, and I think the environment we played it in was perfect. We do our guys' weekend. It was all the guys together. Everyone enjoyed it. Everyone was having a good time. We were drinking. We matched the drinks to the
Yeah.
characters. We were acting stuff out. Bob's character had to yell huzzah when he attacked. So he was like rolling and being like huzzah. Like it just was perfect. I don't know if I ever want to play it again because it might not ever be the same. But no, I'm excited to get to the table though again very soon.
This could be a good one for
Our
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania day this weekend. Oh, I thought of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the components are top notch. The characters are all pint glasses, like plastic pint glasses. All the dungeon tiles you're flipping around are waterproof. They feel great. The dice are fun. Everything about this production wise, art is like 100%. Like they didn't skip corners. They poured everything into this game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree. Yeah, dude, this was such a great time. Highlight of the weekend. And I just loved how everybody was into it too.
Hmm.
You know, it was such a good time. It really was. It was such a good
Yeah.
time. Now, if we played it in a different setting for the first time, might not be number one, but
Hmm.
it still might be number one because the game I wanted to run it back and
Yeah.
we didn't. But yeah. So no,
Oh
I
yeah, only
loved it.
because like you said, when we played for the 90 minutes because we flipped the
Every
tile that
time.
we needed to flip was literally the last
Hmm.
tile, which
Yeah.
also made it fun because like we were all sprinting to get to,
Yeah.
like we're just beating
And
each other senseless to get to
And
that
it was
last tile.
cool because you could fight with somebody or you could fight against somebody
Hmm.
or like I like the component of like you know they,
Strategizing who you pick because like if you
there was like a health component for
yeah,
them if you beat them, but then if you lost to them, you had to like drink that amount.
yeah, yeah,
Like it was really cool.
yeah. And this is a good game if even if you're not drinking, you can play this with milk, you can play with water.
Yeah, oh,
This
yeah, for
isn't
sure.
like a you could I mean you could play this with kids realistically
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
you absolutely
they
could.
don't have
Because
to know what's really going on.
no, because all you need is just it's some form of liquid in the
Hmm.
whether it could
Yeah.
be iced tea or like you
Kool-Aid.
said, milk, water, Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid might stain it. I don't know.
Nah. Nah.
No, 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 no.
If
The
if
good.
our if that toxic fruit punch beer didn't stain it, then
It's true.
Kool-Aid's not
It
gonna
was
stain it.
such a great time. Can't wait to play it again.
Yeah, so that's our both of our number one Heroes of Arcadia from Roll a Crit.
We love you.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in every month. And when Brian does a solo episode, we really appreciate all the listens.
Yep. And we are also now on YouTube, not a video component.
Hmm.
But if that's someplace you listen to, we were able to upload all the episodes previous and any going forward are on YouTube, just
Yeah.
the audio. But I mean, I listened to some podcasts on YouTube,
Hmm.
some illegal streams of uh
Well,
shows from Sirius Radio. So it's like
oh,
it
yeah,
it
that's good.
is a audio medium as well.
And it's easy too if you're at work. Some people, don't want to use the headphones on their
Hmm.
phone or whatever. So it's just like easier to just, play it on your laptop or, whatever. But
Yep.
yeah,
But
it's available there.
yeah, just another way to listen to us. But thank you again. We'll see you soon. I don't know when this episode's going to drop, but when it drops, it drops. But thank you for 3 years. Thank you for listening. This is your first episode. Thank you for joining us. Look forward to learning more about you in the future as you reach out and follow all our stuff Instagram, Facebook,
Hmm.
LinkedIn. What's the other
Yeah.
one? What's the other?
I don't know. I
Threads, uh,
don't.
OnlyFans, our
What?
Patreon. Follow it all. But all right, thank you so much, and see you all later.
Bye.
but I need
Sorry.
it. But
Bryce Harper just hit a grand slam.
cut.
Sorry.
That's fine.
He has
But
3 home runs today. Sorry.
woo,
Sorry.
Phillies.
Cut.